You think you're tough, old man? Jake snarled as his hand cracked across the veteran's cheek. The diner froze. Forks clattered, coffee cups trembled. Nobody breathed. What Jake didn't know, what none of them knew, was that this old man's silence was not weakness. It was power. Because the son he had just disrespected, he commanded the security of an entire nation. And this single slap would change everything. The diner smelled of bacon grease and strong coffee. Neon lights buzzed faintly above chipped counters. Morning sunlight spilled across a booth where Harold sat alone, a black man in his late 70s, his back bent from years of service, his jacket patched with fading insignias of wars long past. Most people saw nothing but wrinkles and age. But behind his weathered eyes lived memories of gunfire, sacrifice, and the heavy silence of folded flags. He didn't talk much. He didn't have to. Silence had become his closest companion. As he stirred sugar into his coffee, he heard laughter outside. Loud, arrogant. Trouble. The door slammed open. A rush of cold air swept through as Jake swaggered in with his friends. Jake was big, broad-shouldered, and fueled by cheap pride. The kind of man who grew tall by stepping on others. His boots thudded against the diner floor. His eyes scanned the room, hungry for weakness. Then they landed on Harold, alone, old, quiet. A smirk spread across Jake's face. Well, what have we here? A grandpa playing soldier? His friends snickered, their laughter echoing like hyenas. Harold didn't reply. He lifted his cup, sipping calmly, but Jake wasn't looking for calm. He was looking for prey. Jake sauntered over, snatching Harold's faded veteran cap from the table. Look at this, boys. Thinks he's some kind of hero. He tossed it to one friend, who tossed it to another. They played catch with the hat as Harold sat still, his hands folded, his jaw tight. That hat, Harold whispered finally, isn't just cloth. It's men who never came home. It's brothers buried in foreign soil. Jake leaned down, sneering. All I see is a relic. A weak, useless fossil. Other diners shifted uncomfortably. But nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Old man, Jake spat. When Harold refused, keeping his eyes on his coffee, Jake's temper snapped. His hand shot out, cracking across Harold's cheek. The sound silenced the room. A waitress dropped a tray of dishes. A child gasped. An old jukebox stopped mid-song as if the music itself recoiled. Harold's head turned with the force. His cheeks stung, but his eyes were steady as stone when they met Jake's, and he whispered, just loud enough for the room to hear, "Son, you just made the biggest mistake of your life." Jake laughed nervously. What are you gonna do, huh? Call your war buddies? Bet they're all in nursing homes. Harold didn't argue. He simply reached into his jacket, pulling out an old flip phone. His hand shook, not with fear, but with age. He pressed one number. Just one. The line clicked. A deep, steady voice answered almost instantly. Dad? Are you okay? Harold's lips curved into a faint smile. I'm fine, son. But someone here isn't? The bully snorted, rolling his eyes. Oh, please. Who's he calling? His nurse? His bingo partner? But Harold's next words froze the diner. My son, he said slowly, is the head of Homeland Security. Gasps rippled across the room. Diners exchanged wide-eyed looks. Phones came out, thumbs flying as they searched the name he had spoken, and Jake's smirk faded. The blood drained from his face as realization clawed at his chest. For 10 agonizing minutes, the diner sat in tense silence. Jake paced, muttering, trying to convince himself this was bluff. Then the sound came. Engines, tires screeching outside. Black SUVs rolled up, doors snapping open. Men in dark suits and earpieces flooded the diner, their presence sharp and suffocating. Diners pressed against the walls, their breath stolen, and then he entered. Tall, imposing, eyes sharp enough to cut steel. the man who carried the weight of national security on his shoulders. Harold's son, he moved to his father first, kneeling, gently touching the red mark on his cheek. His jaw clenched. His chest rose with fury barely restrained. Then he turned. His gaze locked on Jake.U. His voice was low, steady, terrifying. "Laid your hand." "On my father?" Jake's knees nearly buckled. He stammered. I didn't know." "I didn't mean you didn't need to know," the son snapped. "You disrespected a soldier." "A veteran. A man who gave more for this country than you could ever imagine." The agents moved. Jake and his friends were slammed against counters, wrists twisted, cuffs clamped tight. Their laughter was gone, replaced with whimpers and pleas. The son leaned close to Jake, his voice cold. "You thought he was just an old man. He's a warrior. He's my father." And today, you learn what real power looks like. The entire diner watched as arrogance crumbled into fear. The son guided his father to his feet. Harold stood tall, his back straightened by pride. Before leaving, his son turned to the room. Respect is not given to bullies. Respect is owed to those who sacrificed, who endured, who carried this country on their shoulders. One by one, diners rose. Not because they were forced, but because they felt it. They stood in silent honor of the veteran and Harold. He simply picked up his hat, placed it gently back on his head, and walked out with dignity unbroken.